Well, Nintendo has been quite the busy little bee the past 24 hours. We, of course, learned about Alarmo, the greatest, evidently the greatest thing ever. Look, I'm sorry. You saw my video on it. You know my thoughts and feelings on it. That was a genuine reaction. I hadn't researched it whatsoever. And I just think it's dumb. $100 for an alarm clock that like tracks you and stuff like that, when you could buy an alarm clock for like $5 or use your cell phone because you have a cell phone and it does the same thing, just doesn't have Mario sounds. I don't know if you really want to be awoken by the splattering of Splatoon gunshots. That doesn't sound like a very peaceful wake up call, but hey, if you want it, you can go ahead and buy it. I'm not going to buy it. But we actually got another announcement from Nintendo yesterday that was by far more interesting because there's a lot of things tied to it, that what it could potentially be. So we're going to talk about that today. So this went out at 6 p.m. Eastern time yesterday. We will be performing a test related to a new feature for Nintendo Switch Online on Nintendo Switch. Starting at 8 a.m. Pacific time on October 10th, existing Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack members will be able to apply to participate on a first come, first serve basis. So right then and there, you already know this is going to be nuts. It's going to be pandemonium to get into it, and it sounds very vague. Now, they do have a website, and this is where you will sign up via this website here. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys so you can see it better. About the Nintendo Switch Online Playtest Program. We're going to perform a test. We'll recruit people to participate in this test from customers who have an active Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack membership. Customers will need to download exclusive software to their own Nintendo Switch system in order to participate. Please review the application guidelines before applying. You have to have a membership. You got to be 18 or older. I mean, a lot of people I've seen kind of get hang up on the 18 or older thing. I mean, that's just because they want adults, at least legal age adults. You can't really, give an app to a kid and be like, test this out unless there's parental permission and stuff like that. And you have to be in Japan, the United States of America, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, or Spain. And then here's a recruitment thing where you can sign up. I think they're taking 10,000. Yeah, they're as many as 10,000 people. So I don't even know why they're running it for this long. Now, I'm going under the assumption that there's not going to be any information about what it is unless you are accepted into the thing, which would mean that this is going on for, 5 days. So you have to wait quite a while to figure out what this actually is if you are indeed accepted into it. And then the play test is not until the end of the month, stemming into the beginning of November. So obviously a lot of questions around this, a lot of theories and speculation. Of course, a lot of people feel that this is Nintendo Switch 2 related, to which I say, I mean, maybe. Like, you can figure out some things here. This is for Nintendo Switch Online service. And the fact that they're taking only expansion plus members into it means that you're going to have you have to have a Nintendo Switch Online account in order to have access to whatever this is going to be. I've heard some people say, well, maybe it's like a game test or something like that. And that kind of does make sense. But the thing that I think holds that back quite a bit is the fact that Nintendo's not against doing like betas for stuff. There was Splatoon open betas to check out Splatoon to make sure that the online code worked and that sort of thing. There wasn't a whole bunch of secrecy and stuff like that. Remember, they did like the different times where people could have access to it and play it based on different regions to essentially check the strength of the online connection and to see what the servers could handle. And since that was an open beta, everyone who had a Nintendo Switch, they had access to it. So I don't think it's like an individual game sort of situation. This seems to be an application more so than something specific to a game. Some people have said maybe it's GameCube stuff. I don't see that as it being a thing, because once again, what are we really testing here if that is indeed the case? That would be a situation where, yes, there is an online component to it if you decide to play multiplayer, which would actually be pretty interesting. But the single player component, like, would you really want that out there into the open for people to be able to get their hands on that and check it out. And why would you limit it? And, you know, what games would you select? I feel like that's something that is way bigger. You know, that's way bigger than something like this. So what do I think this is? That's where things get interesting, because I don't really necessarily know. Like, this is an application for Nintendo Switch Online. You know, voice chat, they have the stupid phone app. You know, so I don't think it would be something to replace that. This is obviously something that works on your current system as well. So it's not designed necessarily just for the successor system. This will also work on your current Nintendo Switch system, because that's what you're playing it on. That's where you're accessing these things on. So it would be something that would be across the board. The only thing that I could think of that this maybe is, which I don't even necessarily think that this is it, but I think it has a better possibility than what a lot of people are saying, is I think this could potentially be some sort of game streaming service. You know, all of the game companies right now, your PlayStations, your Xboxes, they all have game streaming. They have it where you do not have to get the full, you know, you don't have to download the game or anything like that. You could simply stream the game. And this, to me, kind of seems something like that. There has been streaming efforts done with games like Resident Evil Village and, of course, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but all of that was for Japan. If you didn't have it, you know, if you didn't live in Japan, you couldn't even access it. Like, you could download it, but you couldn't access any of the server points in order to stream the games. And the streaming quality, from what I've seen, you know, it was kind of hit or miss. So could this be something of like a worldwide sort of wanting to launch game streaming on your Nintendo Switch? That, to me, makes a lot more sense than what a lot of other people are saying with this. And it's something that I think Nintendo is going to potentially factor in with their next generation system, and maybe even their current generation system. You know, people don't maybe want to buy a different memory card or buy a game physically, so you're giving them an option in order to do that, because obviously there's a lot of games that have large sizes that don't fit on a cartridge. You have to download a portion of the game anyways, and, you know, it's a convenience thing for a lot of people. But I also feel like that's almost too big for this as well. You know what I'm saying? Like that just feels too big and too random. So I almost think that this is just going to be something that's not even a big deal. You know, it's something that we're not even thinking about, because, you know, maybe to the average user, like it's not something monumental. You know, you're talking about, go back to the alarm clock situation. Imagine if PlayStation announced an alarm clock, or Xbox announced an alarm clock. Like, nobody would think twice. They'd be like, oh, okay, well, whatever, that's a thing. But Nintendo, you know, they put a lot of pomp and circumstance into it. They put out this long trailer to show you this alarm clock. And this almost feels like something like that. Because, I don't know, you know, if this is a new feature, like, how big and widespread could it actually be? But maybe we'll be surprised with this. You know, maybe it will be game streaming or something like that. But how would that even work? Like, do they send you a test game to check out? And I do wonder, you know, when it comes to NDAs and stuff like that, like how that's going to work. Because you would imagine that you're not going to be allowed to talk about this sort of stuff. But how are they going to track like that many people? Somebody's going to leak what it is. And I just feel like if it was something large and substantial and something that would kind of, you know, change the way you maybe view a Nintendo Switch, like, would you really do it with so many people? Why can't you do it in-house and test it out in-house or something like that? But, you know, there is an air of excitement to it. I personally think that this will disappoint people if they're setting their expectations very high. My expectations are very mid to low for this. I'm not expecting anything too crazy, but who knows? Maybe Nintendo will come along and surprise everyone. Or they could just talk about the freaking Nintendo Switch successor system. Like, let's be real. That's what people want out of this. Let me know in the comment section down below, though. What do you think this is? Do you think it's going to be something grandiose, or do you think it'll be kind of a disappointment? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell notification as well. Give me your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.